All right, some questions have arisen about the World Boxing Super Series tournament on the super middleweight side. It's your boy CJ Goodfellow back with TBC. Shout out to everybody on the boxing grind. And Jesse Hart, who's fighting in Corpus Christi tonight on ESPN on Gilberto Ramirez in Hamad undercard, and should be a decent scrap. Was asked, I guess Stevie Kim, he did the article on Boxing. I'll link it to the description. He was asked about the World Boxing Super Series tournament. He's been very vocal about Chrissy Banks Jr. He called him a gimmick because of his father. And I don't know if he ever watched Chrissy Banks Jr. Train to fight, but the boy can fight. So I don't know why he's calling him a gimmick. I guess because he feels that, his dad got him in the position he in. But the boy can fight. He dedicated. This ain't no Chavez Jr. And, basically he said they didn't come to his doorstep or Gilberto Ramirez's doorstep, or they didn't even attempt to come to the American doorsteps for this tournament. Now, we talked about when this tournament first started why the American fighters didn't want to join it. Apparently, Jesse Hart is saying that they never was invited, at least on the top rank side. And it's been some talk about, I heard my boy Jake say, Al Heyman bit the hand that feed him he a snake because he didn't give Richard Schaefer dates on Showtime for the World Boxing Super Series tournament. And even though Showtime did expand his dates, it sounds like Richard Schaefer wasn't trying to let none of his fighters in the tournament, according to Jesse Hart. And it sounds like, I believe it, because they lobbied for Andrew Tabiti to get in the tournament, and they won't let Andrew Tabiti in the tournament, in the cruiserweight side, though. And Andrew Tabiti is a Al Heyman advised fighter. He fights on the Mayweather promotion banner. Everybody know he got skills in. And then the boy Jake, my homie Jake said, well, he's a bum or whatever. He said something like that. I said, Mike Perez got in the tournament, he a bum. And he a bum. And Tabiti I put bread, Tabiti beat the crap out of Mike Perez, probably stopped that boy. Tabiti is a very skilled fighter. Some of the guys I seen in this tournament, the cruiserweight tournament, the guy who fought Murat Gazvi, whatever that guy's name is, I think Andrew Tabiti would have beat him. And I think Andrew Tabiti could have won the tournament. Possibly. I think he did need some more seasoning, so absolutely I wouldn't put my money on him, but he could have did some Andre Ward type ish, and that's what they didn't want. They didn't want those American fighters coming in. And my thought about it before I got at least got these facts from Jesse Hart, was the fact that the American fighters like Anthony Durrell, in his case, I thought he didn't want to enter the tournament with Callum Smith because he didn't want to travel to Europe after what happened to his brother versus Carl Froch, Andre Durrell. So I figured a lot of these guys didn't want to travel abroad to Europe and to different countries and fight, because Americans like to stay home and they don't want to go to the UK or over to Germany and stuff like that. A lot of guys don't do that because they feel they're going to get robbed. And they feel like, America is the home base for boxing. They'll be out here, which is true. Like, it's the best market. It's the hardest market to crack, but it's the most lucrative market in boxing. And if you can't make it in America, then, I'm not saying you can't make it nowhere, but to be a star, you got to, be a global star. I mean, you got to, crack the American market. And that's not easy, but it's starting to sound like they didn't want to invite these guys. They didn't want an Andre Ward, they didn't want an Andre Ward thing coming. They didn't want to invite none of the American guys, so they threw Robert Brand in there. Robert Brand out of all guys, he got thrown there, and Jesse Hart was like, how they gonna throw a guy like they just threw something together real quick. They threw a guy like Robert Brand in there just to say they put an American in there. He was the only American on both sides of the tournament. So I'm starting to think that Richard Schaefer and Katie Sutherland, whatever it is, they didn't want American fighters in there because they didn't want an American to dominate the tournament like Andre Ward did last time. And I'm starting to think that, especially, I don't think there's no reason why Jesse Hart got a lie. He said they didn't get David Benavidez, they didn't get me and Jesse Hart, they didn't get Gilberto Ramirez. He said the tournament was a joke. This is something they threw together. He said George Groves, he ain't been the same after Badou Jack. Called Chrissy Banks Jr. a gimmick. Said how did Callum Smith pass up opportunity at the World Championship to enter the tournament over Andre Durrell. And he just broke it down, And that was kind of my sentiments on the tournament, The only thing that's good that's coming out this tournament, obviously, is the fact that Chrissy Banks Jr., George Groves, and Callum Smith all may fight each other. And that's something that I would like to see. I'm an international boxing fan for the most part. But, Hart is right. That's why, Al Heyman didn't give Richard Schaefer dates. It wasn't the fact that his guys didn't want to fight in the tournament. That's what Jesse Hart trying to make it seem like. They wasn't invited. They wasn't invited. And I would love to hear some more people's thoughts on that. I reached out to Caleb Plant on social media, but he hadn't used his Twitter in years. So he can answer. I asked, was he invited? I might reach out to the Durrells and ask, was they invited? Well, obviously, you know, Anthony was invited and he wasn't traveling. But I thought that was an issue that guys didn't want to travel. But it sounds like, according to Jesse Hart, that on their side, on the Top Rank side, none of them was invited. And we know Richard and Bob don't have a good relationship as well, so maybe that's factored in. But I'm starting to think that Richard Schaefer didn't want any of the guys in there from the U.S. You know, from PBC Al Heyman. But he should have got those guys in there. I understand that David Benavidez wasn't champion yet. You know, so that title was I think it was vacated when Purdue Jack moved up, and Callum Smith and Andre Darrell could have got that title. So, you know, even though David Benavidez was a young 20-year-old moving on up in the world, you know, he still should have received a call for that belt. I mean, for the tournament. But yeah, you know, the best super middleweights ain't in the tournament. You know, Ramirez. You know, forget about David Benavidez because he wasn't the champion at the time. But Ramirez wasn't in the tournament. J.C. Hart was an undefeated guy. You know, the Darrell brothers, obviously, I don't think neither one would have took it because they didn't want to travel. You know, DeGale couldn't get in there because he injured his shoulder. You know, Plant, he's another talented guy. He should have been over Robert Brandt for sure. I mean, a lot of guys that didn't make the cut, you know. And, you know, obviously you had to have, you know, Ramirez, you know, in there for it to have clout because he's the number one guy, not because James DeGale wasn't available. But yeah, you know, this tournament, it ain't a true tournament. I said it before. The Cruiserweight is a true tournament. Got a lot of talent in there. But that tournament had too many gimmick guys like Jamie Cox, Robert Brandt, Avian, Yurderman, I mean, Eric, the Skungland Die. I mean, the whole right side of that screen was, you know, it wasn't tournament worthy. They not even top 10, you know, super middleweight. When you just say top 10 of the best, they wasn't the best. And I definitely feel where Jesse Hart was coming from. You know, they just threw it together so they can blow up some UK, British, or European type of guy. Threw American in there just to say what they did. And that's the reason. Al Heyman not about to give you guys dates at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And even though he don't even give the dates. You know, Stephen Espinoza get a date. So, they don't give those dates. You know, they wasn't getting those dates. You know, there were no American guys in there. And it wasn't on American home base, really. A lot of fights happened in the UK and Germany and over there in Europe. So, it wasn't going to happen, man. You know, it wasn't going to happen. They had to have a lot more American flavor. They should have based the tournament with Americans, then put Ebanks Jr. Groves in there and Callum Smith. They went about it wrong. They tried to make it a UK tournament and got burnt on the U.S. market. But we gone.